She was 47, when they said, "It's too soon to date," but her late husband had told the billionaire, "Make her happy." She was 47 and invisible. Even the waiter looked through her like glass. 8 months since Terrence died, and Simone had mastered disappearing until the billionaire showed up at her door. Carter Webb stood on her porch holding her late husband's favorite bourbon. "Terrence made me promise something," he said. Her heart stopped. She was a widow in sweatpants. He was everything she wasn't. Rich, put together, alive in ways she'd forgotten how to be. "What promise?" His green eyes held something dangerous. "Not pity. Worse. He asked me to make sure you didn't disappear." He paused, studying her tear-stained face. "You're disappearing, Simone. This stranger, this man Terrence trusted during chemo saw her, really saw her, and that terrified her more than anything. Welcome to our channel, where we bring you emotional stories that stay with you. If you're new here, hit subscribe and the notification bell so you never miss a story. And if you're returning, thank you. Your support means everything. Now, stay until the end. Drop a comment with your thoughts, and let's begin." The doorbell rang at 6:47 on a Saturday evening. Simone considered not answering. She was 47 years old, standing in her kitchen in Terrence's old college of Charleston, t-shirt and leggings with a hole in the knee, reheating 3-day-old mac and cheese because cooking for one felt like admitting something she couldn't name. The doorbell rang again. Through the frosted glass, she could make out a tall figure, broad shoulders, not the Amazon driver. She opened the door to a man holding a bottle of bourbon she recognized immediately. "Pappy Van Winkle," she said. Her throat went tight. "That's Terrence's favorite." Carter Webb stood on her porch like he'd been there before, though he hadn't. "Not to her house. He told me about the first time you bought it for him, saved up for 3 months. Anniversary. Surprise." Simone's hand went to the doorframe, the wood grain pressed into her palm, real, solid. "How do you—" "We talked a lot." Carter's voice was quiet. "Even in those waiting rooms, between treatments." She remembered Terrence mentioning someone, a guy whose mom was going through it too. They'd exchanged dark jokes about hospital coffee and radiation side effects. She'd pictured someone older, someone less present. Carter Webb looked like he belonged on a magazine cover, not her doorstep. Dark blonde hair that probably cost more to cut than her monthly grocery bill, a grey Henley that fit like it was made for him, athletic build that said he actually used the gym membership instead of just paying for it. He was also watching her with an expression she couldn't quite read. "Can I come in?" he asked. "Just for a minute." Every instinct said no. No more casseroles from church ladies who looked at her with those sad eyes. No more, "How are you holding up?" conversations that really meant, "You look terrible." No more people in her space, in Terrence's space, making it feel less like theirs and more like hers alone. But he had the bourbon. She stepped back. Let him in. Carter moved through her house like he was trying not to take up too much room, which was strange for a man his size. He set the bourbon on the kitchen counter, next to the pile of unopened mail she'd been avoiding. "Jasmine gave you the spare key," Simone said. "Not a question. She's worried about you." He turned to face her. "Your sister Nicole called me too." Heat flushed up Simone's neck. They had no right. "They love you." Simple. Direct. Like that explained everything. Simone crossed her arms. The kitchen felt too small suddenly, too bright. The overhead light buzzed. Had it always buzzed? "What do you want, Mr. Webb?" "Carter." He leaned against the counter, casual. Except his hands gripped the edge. Tension there. "And I want to keep a promise." "What promise?" The house settled around them, old pipes creaking, the neighbor's dog barking. Normal sounds. The world still moving while hers stood still. Carter's jaw worked. 3 days before Terrence passed, he asked me to come early, before you got there. His green eyes met hers. "Steady. He said you were going to try to disappear after he was gone, that you'd stop planning events, stop seeing friends, stop taking care of yourself. He made me promise I wouldn't let that happen." Simone's breath caught. Her chest hurt. Everything hurt. "He also said," Carter's voice dropped lower, "he said you'd fight me on it, that you'd say you were fine, that you wouldn't want to be anyone's burden." She turned away, faced the sink. 3 coffee mugs sat in the drain. All hers, all from the last 24 hours. "I am fine," she said. Simone, the way he said her name, like Terrence used to. 3 syllables. Simone, Southern soft. "When's the last time you planned an event?" Her hands gripped the counter's edge. I'm taking time. When's the last time you returned a client call? I needed space. When's the last time you did anything besides go through the motions? She spun around. You don't know me. You don't get to come into my house and… You're right. He straightened, took a step back, giving her room. I don't know you, but Terrence did, and he knew you'd do this. His hand gestured to the kitchen. The pile of mail, Terrence's mug, the too quiet house. He knew you'd put yourself on pause because you didn't know how to move forward without him. Simone's eyes burned. Stop. He made me promise. Stop. Her voice broke. Carter went quiet. The refrigerator hummed. Time stretched. Then, I'm not here to fix you. I'm here because I made a promise to my friend. And because… He paused. Something flickered across his face. Because he was right. You're disappearing. She didn't cry. Not then. Not with this stranger watching her with those two knowing eyes. Instead, she did what any Southern woman did when emotions threatened to drown her. She offered food. Have you eaten? The words came automatic. Muscle memory from 25 years of hosting, of caring for others, of filling silence with sustenance. Carter blinked. What? Dinner. Have you eaten? She moved to the fridge, grateful for something to do with her hands. I have mac and cheese. Jasmine brought collard greens yesterday. There's cornbread from… When? Tuesday? Wednesday? The days blurred. Earlier this week. You don't have to. I'm hungry. A lie. She hadn't been truly hungry in 8 months, and that bourbon's too good to drink alone. Something shifted in his expression. A decision made. Okay. They moved around each other carefully. Simone reheated food while Carter found plates without asking where they were. Set the table. Poured bourbon into the crystal tumblers Terrence's mother gave them for their 10th anniversary. They sat. Ate. The silence wasn't comfortable exactly, but it wasn't terrible either. Carter took a bite of mac and cheese. His eyebrows rose. This is incredible. Nicole's recipe. She uses 4 cheeses and… Simone stopped. She'd been about to say something normal, something light, then remembered why he was here. The promise. The disappearing. And what? Carter asked. Smoked paprika. She swears it makes the difference. He nodded. Took another bite. Terrence talked about your family dinners. Said Sunday at your mama's house was sacred. Simone's hand tightened on her fork. Was. Not anymore. I haven't gone in 6 weeks. Can't. The word stuck. Can't sit at that table with the empty chair. Carter set down his fork. Leaned back. The kitchen light caught the grey threaded through his blonde hair. He wasn't as young as she'd first thought. Life had marked him too. My mum died 2 years ago, he said. The cancer Terrence and I bonded over. She fought for 18 months. I'm sorry. Don't be. I'm telling you because… He ran a hand through his hair, messed it up, made him look more human. Because I know about empty chairs. And I know that avoiding them doesn't make them less empty. Simone's chest tightened. Is this the part where you tell me it gets easier? No. His green eyes met hers, direct, honest. This is the part where I tell you it gets different, and that's not the same thing. They finished eating. Simone stood to clear plates and Carter stood too. They moved to the sink together, too close in the small kitchen. His sleeve brushed her arm. Warm, solid, real. She jerked back. I've got it. Let me help. I don't need help. Charity. Someone fulfilling an obligation to her dead husband. Carter's hand covered hers on the plate. Gentle, not grabbing, just there. Simone. She looked up at him. He was taller up close. She'd forgotten what it felt like to have someone this close. In her space. In Terrence's space. What? Her voice came out smaller than intended. He didn't ask me to check on you because he felt sorry for you. Carter's thumb brushed her knuckle. Probably didn't mean to. Probably automatic. He asked me because he knew what you were capable of. The joy you brought to every room. How you made people feel seen. He paused. He wanted you to remember that woman. The one who existed before grief. Simone's eyes burned. What if I can't? Then I'll remind you. Simple. Like promising to pick up milk. Like it wasn't this massive thing. That's what the promise means. The plate slipped. Would have shattered on the floor if Carter hadn't caught it. His reflexes were quick. Athlete quick. He set it carefully in the sink. You should go, Simone whispered. Okay. But he didn't move immediately. Can I come back? Why? Because Terrence asked me to make sure you didn't disappear. He reached into his pocket, pulled out a card, set it on the counter. And because I want to. That last part hit different, hung in the air between them like a question she didn't know how to answer. He walked to the door, paused with his hand on the knob. There's a food festival downtown next Saturday. Terrence mentioned you love checking out new vendors, finding talent for your events. Simone wrapped her arms around herself. I don't. Think about it. He opened the door. Cool October air spilled in. Charleston, autumn, still warm but with an edge. I'll text you Friday. No pressure. Then he was gone. Simone stood in her kitchen, listening to his car start, watching his headlights sweep across her front window. The house felt different, not less empty, just different. She picked up his card. Simple, elegant. Carter Webb. A phone number. No title, no company, just him. Her phone buzzed. Jasmine, did he come by? Are you okay? Please tell me you didn't tell him to leave immediately. Simone looked at the bourbon on her counter, the 2 plates in the sink, the card in her hand. She texted back. He stayed for dinner. 3 dots immediately. Then, what? Mama, call me right now. But Simone didn't call. She poured herself a small measure of Pappy Van Winkle, sat at the table, and let herself remember the last time she drunk this bourbon with Terrence. Their 22nd anniversary, 2 months before his diagnosis. He'd toasted to 22 more years. They'd gotten 10 months instead. Simone drank, let the burn settle into her chest, and wondered what the hell she was doing considering a food festival with a man she didn't know, a man her husband had trusted with her broken heart. Quick pause if you're feeling this story. Hit the hype so others can find it. Comment where you're watching from. Now, back to the story. The texts started Tuesday. Carter. No pressure. Just checking in. How are you? Simone stared at her phone for 10 minutes before responding. Simone. Fine. Thank you for asking. Carter. That's the answer you give when someone asks but doesn't really want to know. I'm asking because I want to know. She set the phone down, picked it up, set it down again. Simone. I returned 3 client emails today. Small victory. Carter. That's not small. That's huge. Something in her chest loosened, just slightly. Wednesday. He texted a photo. A truly terrible cup of coffee from some tech conference in Austin. Carter. Terrence was right. All coffee outside Charleston is a crime. Simone. He used to say that, even about Starbucks. Carter. Especially about Starbucks. She smiled. Actual smile. Then felt guilty for it. Thursday. No text. Simone told herself she wasn't disappointed. Told herself she hadn't checked her phone 17 times. Told herself it was better this way. This stranger inserting himself into her grief was strange anyway. Obligation or not. Her phone buzzed at 9 p.m. Carter. Sorry. Long day. But I found something you need to see. A link. She clicked. A video of a baby goat in pajamas jumping on a trampoline. Simone. Why do I need to see this? Carter. Because Terrence told me you collected videos of animals doing ridiculous things. Said you watched them when you were stressed before big events. Her breath caught. She'd forgotten. Those stupid videos. Her secret indulgence. Simone. How did he remember that? Carter. He remembered everything about you. She watched the goat video 3 times. Cried twice. Sent back a laughing emoji. Friday came. Simone stood in her closet at 10 a.m. staring at clothes that felt like they belonged to someone else. The woman who wore bold colors and statement jewelry. The woman who walked into venues and transformed them into magic. That woman died with Terrence. Her phone buzzed. Carter. Food festival tomorrow. 11 a.m. I'll pick you up. Wear comfortable shoes, lots of walking. Not a question. A statement. Presumptuous. She should say no. Simone. I don't think that's a good idea. Carter. Why not? Simone. Because I'm not ready. Because people will see us and make assumptions. Because my family already thinks this is weird. 3 dots. Then. Carter. Terrence said you'd say that too. Word for word, almost. Simone sat on her bed. The comforter still smelled like him. She'd stopped washing his pillowcase. Simone. What else did he say? Carter. That you'd need someone to give you permission to live again, and that you wouldn't take it from family because you'd worry about burdening them with your grief. So he asked me. A friend who understood loss, who wouldn't be afraid of your sadness. Her vision blurred. Carter. 11 a.m. I'll bring coffee, the good kind. He showed up at 10, 53 inches, dark jeans and a navy blue button-down, rolled to the elbows, drove a Tesla that was nice but not showy, handed her a to-go cup from the local place that roasted their own beans. "You remembered," she said. "You mentioned it. Tuesday, when you texted back." He smiled. Small, real. "I pay attention." Simone climbed in. The car smelled like leather and something woodsy. Clean, masculine. Nothing like Terrence's old Tahoe that perpetually smelled like his cologne and fast food bags he forgot to throw away. The guilt hit immediately. Carter glanced over. "You okay?" "I shouldn't be doing this. Drinking coffee? You know what I mean." He pulled away from the curb, drove smooth, confident. "Simone, we're going to a food festival. In public. In daylight. This isn't—" He stopped. "Isn't what?" "Isn't anything your husband wouldn't want you to do." His hands tightened on the wheel. "He specifically asked me to get you out of that house. But people will see. Let them." Easy for him to say. He didn't have Nicole calling every other day with passive-aggressive comments about moving on too fast. Didn't have church ladies watching every move with judgmental sympathy. They drove through Charleston's historic district, past rainbow row houses and cobblestone streets. Tourist season was winding down, but enough people still clogged the sidewalks, taking photos, living their lives. Simone used to love this city, used to know every event space, every caterer, every florist worth hiring, used to transform ordinary venues into extraordinary experiences. Used to. "Tell me about your last event," Carter said. "What?" "Before Terrence got sick. What was the last event you planned?" Simone sipped her coffee. Perfect temperature, perfect roast. A 60th birthday party. Woman wanted a Harlem Renaissance theme. We transformed the old Exchange building. Jazz quartet, Prohibition-style cocktails. I found a woman who did period-accurate hairstyling. Sounds incredible. It was, the birthday girl cried. Happy tears. Simone smiled at the memory, then felt it fade. That was 14 months ago. You miss it? Not a question. She did, though. Missed the creative challenge, the problem-solving, the moment when everything came together and a client saw their vision realized. "I don't know if I can do it anymore," she admitted. "Everything feels heavy, like I can't access that part of myself." Carter pulled into a parking spot near Waterfront Park, killed the engine, turned to face her. "Terrence told me about your first event, the one that started your business." Simone's throat tightened. "Our wedding. He said you planned the whole thing for $8,000, made it look like $80,000. Said you had 3 vendors crying because you negotiated so hard, then brought them cookies the next day to apologize. Snickerdoodles." A laugh escaped. "Watery. Real. I always negotiated tough, then softened them up with baked goods. He said you had a gift, not just for design, but for understanding what people actually wanted versus what they said they wanted." Carter's green eyes held hers. "Serious. That gift doesn't disappear because of grief. It's just buried. What if I can't find it again? Then we'll look together." He opened his door, starting with overpriced festival food and questionable live music. The festival sprawled across Marion Square, white tents, crowds, the smell of fried everything mixing with barbecue smoke and kettle corn. A blues band played on the main stage. People laughed, ate, lived. Simone froze at the entrance. Too much, too loud, too alive. Carter's hand found the small of her back, steadying. "We can leave. Anytime. Just say the word." She breathed. In, out. The air tasted like possibility and fear. "No, I'm okay." They walked. Slowly. Carter matched her pace. Didn't rush. Let her stop at a tent selling honey varieties, another with handmade hot sauces, a third with the most beautiful fruit tarts she'd seen outside of France. "These are stunning," Simone murmured, studying the glazework. The vendor, a young black woman with intricate braids, beamed. "Thank you. I just started my business 6 months ago. What's your capacity? Could you handle a large event?" "How large?" 200 people. The woman's eyes widened. Yes, absolutely. I'd need advance notice, but..." Simone pulled out her phone. "What's your contact information?" She typed it in. Didn't think about why. Didn't think about whether she'd actually call. Just did it. Carter watched with something she couldn't name in his expression. They moved on. Sampled jerk chicken that made her eyes water. Found a woman selling peach cobbler that tasted like summer. A man with low country boil samples. Another with shrimp and grits that made Simone close her eyes. Good? Carter asked. Better than good. She opened her eyes, found him watching her. Not the food. Her. What? Nothing. Just. He smiled. Slow. You're smiling. Really smiling. She was. She could feel it. The unfamiliar pull of muscles unused for months. The guilt tried to surface. She pushed it down. They found a bench overlooking the water, ate their festival hall, watched boats drift past, the October sun warm on her face. Can I ask you something? Simone said. Anything. Why are you really doing this? She turned to face him. And don't say because, Terrence asked. There's something else. Carter was quiet for a long moment. Gulls cried overhead. A child laughed nearby. My mom's last year, he finally said. I threw myself into work, told myself I was providing, making sure she had the best care. But really, I was hiding. He looked at his hands. By the time I realized I was missing her last months, she was gone, and I'd wasted time we couldn't get back. That's not the same. You're right. It's not. He met her eyes. But Terrence saw something in those waiting rooms. He saw me drowning in regret. We talked about it. How grief makes you stupid, makes you waste life trying to honor death. Simone's chest hurt. He made me promise because he didn't want you to waste years the way I wasted months. Carter's voice dropped. But also because he knew I needed this too. Needed to help someone not make my mistakes. So I'm a project. No. Firm. Immediate. You're a promise I want to keep. There's a difference. She didn't know what to say to that. Sat with it. Let the sun warm her face and the water calm her racing thoughts. Thank you, she finally whispered. For what? For today. For the texts. For everything. All of it. The not pitying attention. The gentle push forward. The permission she didn't know she needed. For keeping your promise. Carter's hand covered hers on the bench, his palm warm, solid. She didn't pull away. He drove her home as late afternoon bled into evening. The car quiet, comfortable silence, NPR playing low. At her door, Carter walked her up. Southern manners. Or something else. Same time next week? He asked. Carter, there's a jazz night at the poorhouse. Terrence mentioned you loved live music. Simone hesitated. Guilt warred with something else. Something that felt suspiciously like want. I don't know if that's... Think about it. He smiled. Started to leave. Stopped. Turned back. Simone. Yeah? You were incredible today. Talking to that baker. Your eyes lit up. That woman, the event planner, the artist, she's still there. Then he was gone. Simone walked inside. The house felt less suffocating. She opened the bourbon, poured a small glass, sat at the table. Her phone buzzed. Jasmine, how was it? Nicole told me you went out with Carter Webb. Mama, we need to talk. Simone ignored it. Texted Carter instead. Thank you for today. His response came immediately. Thank you for coming. Same time next Saturday. She sat with it. The guilt, the want, the terrifying feeling of moving forward. Maybe. Ask me Friday. It's a date. Wait. No. Not a date. Just... Her phone rang. Nicole. Simone Renee Harris. Full name. She was in trouble. Hey, Nicole. Don't. Hey, Nicole me. Were you out with that white man today? Simone's jaw tightened. His name is Carter. And yes, we went to a food festival. Mama's church friends saw you. They called me. Do you know what they're saying? I don't care. Well, you should. It's only been 8 months. 8 months, Simone. And you're out there. What? Living? That's what Terrence wanted. He literally asked Carter to make sure I didn't. That's what this man told you. You don't know what Terrence actually... Don't. Simone's voice went hard. Don't you dare tell me what my husband wanted. I was married to him for 22 years. Silence. Then, I'm worried about you. I know. But I need you to trust me. I'm your big sister. Worrying is my job. And I'm a grown woman who can make her own decisions. Simone softened slightly. I love you. But I need you to let me figure this out. Nicole sighed. Heavy. Dramatic. Fine. But if this man hurts you, he won't. You don't know that. Maybe not. But Terrence had trusted him. That had to count for something. They hung up. Simone sat in the quiet. The house settled around her. For the first time in 8 months, the silence didn't feel quite so heavy. Friday came again. Carter texted at breakfast. Carter, jazz tonight. I'll pick you up at 7. Simone had been dreading this, anticipating it, both at once. Simone, can I bring someone? 3 dots. Then, Carter, of course. Who? Simone. My daughter, Jasmine. She wants to meet you. Technically, Jasmine demanded to meet him. Showed up at Simone's house Wednesday night with wine and suspicion. Mama, I need to make sure this man isn't taking advantage. Jasmine, please, for me. So here they were. Carter, I'd love to meet her. 7 p.m.? Jasmine arrived at 6:30. Her daughter had Terrence's eyes deep brown, expressive, and Simone's stubborn chin. At 24, she was fierce and protective and terrified of losing her mother the way she'd lost her father. You look nice, Jasmine said, taking in Simone's burgundy wrap dress, the first real dress she'd worn in months, the first time she'd flat-ironed her hair, the first time she'd put on jewelry beyond her wedding ring, which she'd moved to her right hand last Tuesday. Nobody had noticed yet, but she felt its absence on her left hand like a phantom limb. Too much? Simone asked. No, you look like you again. Jasmine's voice cracked slightly. I've missed her. Simone pulled her daughter close, breathed in her familiar scent shea butter and the vanilla perfume Simone bought her every Christmas. Me too, baby. The doorbell rang. Jasmine straightened, went into protective daughter mode. Let me answer it. She swept to the door, opened it to reveal Carter in dark slacks and a charcoal button-down. He held flowers, Gerber daisies, bright and cheerful, and his expression shifted to polite uncertainty when confronted with Jasmine's assessing stare. You must be Jasmine. And you must be Carter. She didn't move from the doorway. The man my father asked to look after my mother. That's right. Why? Carter blinked. I'm sorry? Why you? Why did my father trust you specifically? Jasmine crossed her arms. Because from where I'm standing, you're a wealthy white man who my mother doesn't know, inserting himself into her grief. Jasmine. Simone moved to the door. That's rude. It's okay. Carter's voice stayed even, respectful. He looked at Jasmine directly. Your father and I met in the cancer center waiting room. My mother was in treatment. We started talking. Found we had similar tastes, bourbon, jazz, terrible action movies. Despite herself, Jasmine's mouth twitched. Terrence had loved terrible action movies. The more explosions, the better. We became friends, Carter continued. Not close friends, waiting room friends, but the kind where you're honest, because you both know time matters. He talked about you, about your mother, how proud he was, how worried. Worried about what? That Simone would stop living, that she'd become a monument to his memory instead of a person with a future. Carter's green eyes found Simone's. Something passed between them. He asked me because he knew I understood loss, and because I had no history with your family, which meant I could push without it feeling like obligation. Jasmine studied him. Long, hard. Finally, okay, you can take my mother to jazz night. But I'm coming, and if you do anything, I won't. Simple, certain. Jasmine stepped aside. Let him in. Simone released a breath she didn't know she'd been holding. The poorhouse was packed. Exposed brick walls, low lighting, a 4-piece jazz ensemble on stage playing something sultry and sad. The kind of music Terrence used to play while cooking Sunday dinners. They found a table near the back. Carter ordered bourbon for himself, white wine for Simone, Moscow Mule for Jasmine. The waitress, a college-aged girl with purple hair, smiled at him like he'd hung the moon. Simone noticed. Felt something twist in her stomach that wasn't quite jealousy but wasn't nothing either. So, Jasmine said once drinks arrived, what exactly are your intentions with my mother? Jasmine! Simone wanted the floor to open up. What? It's a fair question. Carter leaned back, smiled slightly. My intentions are to keep a promise to a friend, to make sure your mother remembers she's allowed to experience joy. He paused, looked at Simone, to get to know someone your father clearly loved very much. The music swelled, a saxophone solo, mournful, beautiful. And after, Jasmine pressed, when you've kept your promise, then what? Then we'll see. Carter's voice was steady. Honest, I'm not here with an agenda beyond honoring Terrence's request. But, he stopped. But what? Simone heard herself ask. But I'd like to think we're becoming friends. Real ones. Not just obligation ones. Something in Simone's chest tightened and loosened at once. Jasmine sipped her drink, nodded slowly. Okay, I can accept that. That's it? Simone asked. You're done interrogating him? For now. Jasmine grinned. Terrence's grin. Mischievous. But I'm watching you, Carter Webb. I'd expect nothing less. The band shifted songs, something upbeat. A couple near the stage got up to dance, then another. The floor filled with swaying bodies. Carter stood, extended his hand to Simone. Dance with me. Her heart stuttered. I don't... Mama. Jasmine's voice was soft. When's the last time you danced? Their wedding. Terrence spinning her around the floor, both of them laughing. Young, unaware of how little time they'd have. I can't, Simone whispered. You can. Jasmine squeezed her hand. Daddy would want you to. Carter's hand stayed extended. Patient, not pushing, just offering. Simone stood on shaking legs, took his hand. He led her to the floor. The crowd pressed close but not suffocating. Carter's hand found her waist, respectful distance. The other held her right hand gently. They swayed. Nothing fancy, just moving to the music. I'm not good at this, Simone said. You're doing fine. Terrence was the dancer. He could, her voice caught, could make me look graceful even when I was stepping on his feet. Then I'll make sure you don't step on mine. Carter's smile was gentle, though I'll forgive you if you do. The saxophone sang. Carter moved smoothly. Athlete's grace. He led without forcing. Let her follow naturally. Why are you doing this? Simone asked. Had to know. Really. The truth. Carter's green eyes met hers. The low light made them darker, more serious. Because, Terrence asked. That's true. But also, he hesitated, because the woman he described, the one who lit up rooms, who made magic happen, who loved fiercely, that woman deserves to exist again. And maybe I want to see if she's really as remarkable as he said. Simone's breath caught. And, she had to ask, am I? Yes. No hesitation. But I don't think you believe that yet. The song shifted. Slower. More intimate. Carter's hand on her waist pressed slightly closer. Not inappropriate. Just present. Simone's heart raced. Guilt flooded through her. This was wrong. Too soon. What would people think? I can hear you spiraling, Carter murmured. I'm not. You are. It's okay. But Simone? He waited until she met his eyes. There's nothing wrong with this. We're dancing. That's all. But it wasn't all. They both knew it. The song ended. Simone stepped back quickly. I need some air. She wove through the crowd. Outside, the October night was cool. She gulped it down, hands shaking. What was she doing? 8 months. Only 8 months. And here she was dancing with a man who wasn't Terrence, enjoying it, feeling things she had no right to feel. The door opened behind her. Jasmine. Mama. I can't do this. Do what? Dance. Be happy. Move on. The words burst out. Everyone's watching. Nicole's church friends. Your grandmother. They all think I'm... What? Human? Jasmine moved in front of her, forced eye contact. Mama, nobody who loves you thinks you should stop living. Nicole does. She called me 3 times this week. Aunt Nicole is scared. We're all scared. Jasmine's eyes shimmered. We lost Daddy. We don't want to lose you too. You're not losing me. We were. For 8 months, you were disappearing. And now, Jasmine glanced back at the club. Now you're coming back. And that's terrifying because it means accepting Daddy's really gone. Simone's knees went weak. She leaned against the brick wall. But Mama? Jasmine's voice strengthened. Daddy would kick your ass if he saw you right now. You know he would. He'd say, don't waste time on guilt when you could be living. Simone smiled through tears. Terrence's words. He'd said them a week before he died. Made her promise. She'd forgotten. Or chosen to forget. Carter's nice, Jasmine said. And he looks at you like you're a person, not a widow. That's rare. It's too soon. Says who? There's no timeline for grief. No rules. Jasmine hugged her. Just promise me you'll stop punishing yourself for still being alive. Simone held her daughter. 24 years old and wiser than she had any right to be. I'll try. That's all I'm asking. They went back inside. Carter stood near their table, worry clear on his face. It melted to relief when he saw them. Everything okay? Yeah. Simone surprised herself by meaning it. Can we stay? I want to hear the rest of the set. His smile could have lit the whole room. Absolutely. They stayed until closing. The music wrapped around them. Jasmine loosened up, told embarrassing childhood stories that made Carter laugh real laughter, the kind that crinkled his eyes. Simone found herself laughing too. Actual joy. Strange and wonderful and terrifying. Carter drove them home. Dropped Jasmine first at her apartment near the college. "Good night, Mr. Webb," Jasmine said formally. Then, softer, "Take care of her." "I will." Then just Simone and Carter. The car quiet. Late-night radio playing soft. "Thank you," Simone said. "For what?" "For being patient with Jasmine. For everything. For tonight. Thank you for dancing with me." He glanced over. "Even though it scared you." "How did you know?" "I could feel it. Your heart racing, hands shaking." He turned onto her street. "But you did it anyway. That takes courage." He walked her to the door, again with the southern manners. The porch light cast shadows across his face. "Carter?" "Yeah?" "Terrence was right. About you. You're a good man." Something flickered in his expression. Pleasure, and something else. Something that made her pulse quicken. "Good night, Simone. Good night." She watched him drive away. Stood on her porch. The October night clear, stars visible despite city lights. Inside, her phone rang immediately. "Nicole. Here we go." "Hello?" "Simone." Nicole's voice was tight, controlled. "We need to talk. Sunday dinner. Mama's house. The whole family." Dread pooled in Simone's stomach. "Nicole, this has gone far enough. You're making a fool of yourself with this white man." 8 months, Simone. 8 months, and you're dancing at clubs like some what?" Anger flared. Hot, unexpected. "Say it, Nicole." Silence. "You're my sister," Nicole finally said. "I'm trying to protect you. I don't need protecting. I need support." "Then stop acting like Terrence didn't matter. Stop disrespecting his memory by—" "I'm done with this conversation." Simone's voice went cold. "And I'm not coming to Sunday dinner if you're going to attack me for trying to live." She hung up, stood in her living room, shaking. Terrence's favorite chair sat empty, his reading glasses on the side table, the house full of him. "I'm not disrespecting you," she whispered to the empty room. "I'm honoring you. The way you asked." No answer, just silence. But for the first time, it didn't feel condemning. Sunday came too fast. Simone stood outside her mother's house at 2 p.m., Carter beside her in khakis and a blue Oxford. She'd texted him Saturday night, told him about Nicole's ambush dinner, expected him to decline. Instead, "I'll be there. You shouldn't face this alone. You don't have to do this," Simone said now. Her mother's house loomed. Yellow craftsman, wide porch. The house where every Harris family crisis had been hashed out over collard greens and judgment. "Yes, I do." Carter's jaw was set, determined. "Terrence asked me to make sure you didn't disappear. Hard to do that if I let your family make you feel guilty for existing." The front door opened. Nicole stood there, arms crossed, expression stony. "You brought him." "His name is Carter." Simone climbed the steps. "And, yes, this concerns him too." Nicole's eyes raked over Carter, dismissive. "Mama's in the kitchen. Everyone else is in the dining room. Everyone else." Simone's stomach dropped. How many people did Nicole invite to this intervention? They walked inside. The house smelled like Sunday dinner, ham, macaroni and cheese, green beans slow-cooked with ham hocks, cornbread, peach cobbler, comfort food wielded as ammunition. The dining room held too many people. Nicole's husband Marcus, Jasmine, looking apologetic, Simone's cousin Deborah, her aunt Patricia, and at the head of the table, Eleanor Harris, 72 years old, matriarch. Final word on all family matters. "Mama," Simone said carefully. Eleanor looked up. Her eyes still sharp despite her age, took in Simone. Then Carter, then the space between them. "So this is him," Eleanor said. "Not a question. Mrs. Harris." Carter extended his hand. "I'm Carter Webb. It's an honor to meet you." Eleanor stared at his hand for a long moment, finally shook it. Brief. Assessing. "Sit." They sat, Simone between Carter and Jasmine, surrounded but not supported. Not yet. Nicole brought out food, set plates with more force than necessary, the table filled with dishes. Nobody touched them yet. Eleanor cleared her throat. "Simone, Nicole tells me you've been seeing this man. We're friends." "Mama." "Friends." Nicole's voice dripped skepticism. "Is that what we're calling it?" "Nicole." Marcus, her husband, put a warning hand on her arm. She shook him off. "No, we need to talk about this. It's been 8 months. 8 months since we buried Terrence. And Mama's out here dancing at clubs, bringing strange men around. I'm not strange, Carter said quietly. I'm someone Terrence trusted. So you say. Nicole turned to him, hostile. What do you really want with my sister? Money? She doesn't have any. Status? She's a widow with a small business. Sex? Because if you're taking advantage… Nicole! Eleanor's voice cracked like thunder. That's enough. Silence fell, heavy, oppressive. Eleanor looked at Carter. Why are you here, Mr. Webb? Because Terrence Harris asked me to look after his wife, to make sure she didn't stop living after he died. Carter's voice was steady, respectful but firm. And because I'm trying to honor a friend's dying wish. Dying wish. Aunt Patricia leaned forward. That's convenient. Can't verify it with Terrence now, can we? I can, Jasmine spoke up. All eyes turned to her. Daddy talked to me about it too. 2 days before he passed. He said he asked someone to check on Mama, someone who wouldn't be family, someone who'd push her when we couldn't. Nicole's face flushed. You didn't think to mention this? You didn't ask. You just assumed. Jasmine looked at her aunt. You assumed Mama was being stupid, that she couldn't possibly know what she's doing. She's grieving. We're all grieving. Jasmine's voice rose. But we don't get to tell her how to do it. We don't get to put a timeline on when she's allowed to smile again. Jasmine's right. Everyone turned to Eleanor. She looked tired suddenly. Old. We don't get to dictate Simone's healing. But Mama, Nicole started. But nothing. Eleanor's gaze moved to Simone, softened slightly. Baby girl, are you happy? The question struck like a physical blow. Was she happy? I don't know, Simone admitted. Her voice cracked. I don't know if I'm allowed to be happy. I don't know if it's too soon or if I'm dishonoring Terrence or if… Stop. Carter's hand covered hers on the table. Warm, steady. You're allowed. Terrence wanted you to be. He told me specifically he was terrified you'd punish yourself for surviving him. Simone's eyes burned. But everyone's watching. Everyone has opinions about what I should. Since when do you care what everyone thinks? Eleanor interrupted. The Simone I raised built a business from nothing. Told me she was marrying Terrence even though I thought she was too young. Fought for everything she wanted. She paused. Where did that woman go? She died with Terrence, Simone whispered. No. Carter's voice was firm. He turned to face her fully. She's scared. She's grieving. But she's not dead. I've seen her. At that food festival, talking to vendors with her eyes lit up. Last Friday, dancing even though it terrified her. She's still there. You don't know me, Simone said. But it came out weak. I know what Terrence told me. And I know what I've seen these past few weeks. His green eyes held hers, intense. I know you're stronger than you think, and I know you're using everyone's judgment as an excuse to stay stuck. The words landed like a slap. True, painful. That's not fair, Nicole said. You can't just waltz in here and… Nicole, Marcus finally spoke, firm. Let her talk. Nicole's mouth snapped shut. Her eyes shimmered with unshed tears. Simone looked around the table. Her family, the people who'd held her through Terrence's illness, who'd organized the funeral, who'd brought food and checked in and loved her the only way they knew how. But Carter was right. She'd been using their concern as permission to stay frozen. I'm not trying to replace Terrence, Simone said, her voice stronger now. I'm not trying to forget him, but I can't. She stopped, breathed. I can't keep living in his shadow. I can't keep making every decision based on what other people think I should do. We're trying to protect you, Nicole said. Tears spilled over now. You're my baby sister. I watched you fall apart when he died. I held you at the funeral. I can't. Her voice broke. I can't watch you get hurt again. Understanding crashed over Simone. This wasn't about judgment. This was about fear. Come here, Simone said. Nicole stood, walked around the table. Simone stood too, pulled her sister into a fierce hug. I'm okay, Simone murmured. I'm not falling apart. I'm trying to rebuild. With him? Nicole pulled back, gestured to Carter. With his help, there's a difference. Nicole looked at Carter, really looked. Her expression shifted slightly. Less hostile, still suspicious, but softer. If you hurt her, I won't. Carter's voice was steady. That's not what this is. Then what is it? Aunt Patricia asked. Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like a man taking advantage of a vulnerable widow. It looks like friendship, Jasmine said. It looks like Mama remembering she's allowed to live. It looks complicated, Eleanor said. She stood. moved to Simone, cupped her daughter's face. "Baby girl, what do you want?" What did she want? Simone looked at Carter, this man who'd appeared in her life because her husband asked him to, who texted her goat videos and brought her coffee and made her laugh when she'd forgotten how, who saw her, really saw her, when everyone else saw a widow to pity. "I want to stop feeling guilty for being alive," Simone said. "I want to plan events again. I want to remember what joy feels like." She paused. "And I want to do it at my own pace, without everyone watching and judging every step." Eleanor nodded slowly. "Then that's what you'll do." She looked at the table. "At Nicole, at Patricia. And we'll support her, even if we don't understand, even if it scares us, because that's what family does." Nicole wiped her eyes, nodded reluctantly. The tension broke. Not completely, but enough. "Can we eat now?" Marcus asked. "Because this ham's getting cold and I'm starving." Despite everything, Simone laughed. Real. Surprised. They ate. The conversation stayed careful at first, light, but gradually it found its rhythm. Marcus told a story about work. Deborah shared news about her son's scholarship. Jasmine talked about her classes. Carter fit in smoothly, asked questions, laughed at Marcus's terrible jokes, complimented Eleanor's cooking with genuine appreciation. "This mac and cheese," he said, "is the best I've ever had." "Simone made it," Eleanor said, "used my recipe but added her own touch." Carter looked at Simone, surprised. "You made this?" "I used to cook every Sunday," Simone said. "Before. I started again last week. Figured it was time." It's incredible. Something warm unfurled in her chest. Pride. Almost forgotten. After dinner, Carter helped clear plates despite Eleanor's protests. Simone found herself alone in the kitchen with Nicole. "I'm sorry," Nicole said. "Quiet. I was scared. Am scared." "I know. But I was wrong. To ambush you like that." Nicole dried a plate. "You're right. We don't get to tell you how to grieve. You're not wrong to worry." Simone rinsed a dish, handed it over. "This is scary. I'm scared too." "Is it serious? With Carter? Was it?" Simone didn't know. Didn't want to examine too closely. "It's friendship," she said. "That's all I can handle right now. But he wants more. Not a question. I don't know what he wants." "Simone," Nicole turned to face her. "I've watched him all afternoon. The way he looks at you. It's not just obligation." Simone's heart stuttered. "Don't. I'm just saying, I know what you're saying, but I can't. Think about that. Feel that. Want that. I'm not ready." Nicole hugged her. Tight. "Okay, but when you are ready, don't let fear stop you." Carter drove her home as evening bled into night. They were both quiet, processing. "That was intense," he finally said. "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have brought you into—" "Don't apologize." He glanced over. "I meant what I said. You shouldn't have to face that alone. Nicole thinks you want more than friendship." The words hung between them, heavy. Carter's hands tightened on the wheel. "What do you think?" "I think—" Simone stopped. What did she think? "I think you're a good man keeping a promise, and I think I'm grateful, and I think anything beyond that is complicated." "Yes." He pulled into her driveway, killed the engine, turned to face her. "Simone, I'm going to be honest with you. Because Terrence said you hated games." He paused, gathered words. "When he first asked me to check on you, it was an obligation, a promise to a friend. But these past few weeks—" "Don't," panic flared. "Please don't. I have to, because you deserve honesty." His green eyes were steady, serious. "You're remarkable. The way you talk about events, the way you light up around food and music and creative challenges, the way you love your daughter, the way you're fighting to rebuild yourself." He stopped. "I like you. Not as an obligation. As a person I genuinely want to spend time with." Simone's chest constricted. "I can't." "I know. And I'm not asking you to. I'm just—" He ran a hand through his hair, frustrated. "I'm telling you where I stand, so there's no confusion, no games. This is too much." "Okay." He backed off immediately. "Then we stay friends. Just friends, for as long as you need. What if I always need that? What if I'm never ready for more? Whatever more meant. Then we're friends, and I'm okay with that." He smiled, sad. "I'd rather have you in my life as a friend than not at all." Simone's eyes burned. "Why are you so patient?" "Because grief doesn't have a timeline. Because pushing you would be cruel. And because—" he looked at his hands, Because you're worth waiting for. The words broke something in her. A dam she'd built. Tears spilled over. I can't love you, she whispered. I don't know how to love anyone but Terrence. I'm not asking you to love me. I'm asking you to let me be present, to let me care. Carter's voice was gentle. Everything else, if there ever is anything else, we'll figure out if and when it happens. You should find someone else. Someone not broken. You're not broken. You're grieving. There's a difference. He reached over, wiped a tear from her cheek. The gesture so tender it hurt. And I don't want someone else. I want to know you. This version of you. The one rebuilding herself. Simone couldn't breathe, couldn't think, could only feel terror and want and guilt and something she refused to name. I need to go inside. Okay. But she didn't move, sat frozen. Carter waited. Patient. Always so patient. Thank you, she finally said. For today. For being honest. For everything. All of it. Anytime. She went inside, stood in her dark living room. Terrence's chair empty. His presence everywhere and nowhere. Her phone buzzed. Carter, I meant what I said. You're worth it. All of it. Sleep well. Simone sat in Terrence's chair for the first time since he died. It still smelled faintly of him. Old Spice and coffee and the man she'd loved for 22 years. I don't know what to do, she whispered. He's good and patient and he sees me. But it's only been 8 months. Am I betraying you? Am I moving too fast? No answer. Just silence. But maybe that was answer enough. Maybe Terrence's silence was permission. Maybe he'd given it 8 months ago, when he asked Carter to make her happy. Simone pulled out her phone, scrolled to the text Carter sent the day after they met. The goat video. She'd saved it. Watched it now. The ridiculous pajama-clad goat jumping. Laughed through tears. Then opened her laptop, the one she hadn't touched in months. Found her business email. 43 unread messages. Potential clients. Vendors. People who still believed in her. She started responding. One by one. Small steps. By midnight, she'd answered 12. Set up 3 consultations. Started sketching ideas for a wedding. It wasn't everything, but it was something. 3 weeks passed. Simone threw herself into work. Took on a corporate holiday party. A small wedding. A non-profit gala. Stayed busy. Stayed moving. Saw Carter twice a week. Coffee on Tuesdays. Dinner on Fridays. Kept it friendly. Safe. Ignored the way her heart jumped when his name appeared on her phone. Ignored the way he looked at her when he thought she wasn't watching. Then November arrived, and with it, the anniversary she'd been dreading. It would have been their 23rd wedding anniversary, November 15th. Terrence proposed on a Tuesday. They married exactly 1 year later. He'd planned to renew their vows this year, booked the chapel, made reservations. Simone woke that morning to texts from Jasmine, Nicole, her mother, all checking in, all careful, all meaning well. She ignored them. Drove to the cemetery instead. The Charleston morning was cold, grey, appropriate. Simone stood at Terrence's grave with coffee from their favorite shop and his favorite donuts from the bakery they'd gone to every Saturday. 23 years, she said to the headstone. We should be in Savannah, at that bed and breakfast, eating too much and walking the river. Her voice cracked. You should be here. The wind rustled leaves. Somewhere, a bird called. Carter told me he has feelings for me. The words came easier to the headstone than they had to anyone living. He's been patient, perfect, everything you'd want from me probably. She laughed bitterly. But I don't know what to do with that. How to want someone when I still want you. Silence. Always silence. Everyone says you'd want me to be happy, that you'd approve. But how do I know? How do I know this isn't me just trying to fill the hole you left? Tears spilled, hot against her cold cheeks. How do I know I'm not dishonoring everything we built? Her phone buzzed. Carter, thinking of you today. No pressure to respond, just wanted you to know. She stared at the text, at the grave, at the sky that refused to cry with her. Then her phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Simone Harris? A woman's voice. Professional. This is Lauren Mitchell from the Charleston Museum. We met at a fundraiser 2 years ago. I remember. Barely. Everything before Terrence's diagnosis felt like another lifetime. I'm calling about our annual gala. February. Our usual planner had a family emergency and had to withdraw. Your name came highly recommended. Lauren paused. I know this is short notice, but would you be interested in discussing it? The Charleston Museum Gala, 500 guests, major donors, politicians, press coverage. The biggest event she'd ever been considered for. Simone looked at Terrence's grave, at the future sitting heavy in front of her. Can I think about it? Of course, but I'll need an answer by Friday. We're quite behind schedule. They hung up. Simone sat on the cold ground next to Terrence's grave, the biggest opportunity of her career, the one she'd dreamed about, the one she'd have to tackle alone. She called Carter without thinking. He answered on the first ring. Hey, you okay? No. The word broke. Can you? She couldn't ask. Shouldn't ask. Where are you? The cemetery. Stay there. I'm coming. He hung up. Simone sat, numb, cold, the coffee and donuts untouched beside her. 20 minutes later, Carter's Tesla pulled up. He got out wearing running clothes she'd interrupted a workout. Didn't seem to care. He walked over, sat beside her on the cold ground. Didn't speak, just sat. It would have been 23 years, Simone finally said. I know. How do you know? Because Terrence talked about it. How excited he was for the vow renewal. How he'd picked out a surprise for you. Simone's heart clenched. What surprise? A trip. 3 weeks in Italy. He'd been saving. Said you always wanted to see the Amalfi Coast. Carter's voice was soft. He made me promise to tell you if he didn't make it. The tears came harder. I can't do this. Do what? Any of it. Move forward. Take this job. Figure out what you are to me. I can't. She turned to him. Desperate. Breaking. I don't know how to be Simone without Terrence. I've been his wife since I was 25. That's who I am. No. Carter shifted to face her fully. His hands cupped her face. Gentle. Grounding. That's who you were. Part of who you are. But not all of it. You don't understand. I do. When my mom died, I thought I'd lost my identity too. Son. Caretaker, that was my role. Without her, who was I? His green eyes held hers. Intense. But then I realized I got to choose. I got to decide who I became next. I don't want to choose. I want him back. I know. His thumb wiped away tears. But you can't have that. So you get to choose what you do with the life you still have. And Simone? He waited until she met his eyes. You get to choose happiness, even if it feels like betrayal, even if it's terrifying. The museum offered me their annual gala. His eyebrows rose. That's huge. Too huge. I can't or won't. The distinction mattered. She knew it mattered. I'm scared, she whispered. Of course you are. But think about what Terrence would say. Carter's voice was steady. Sure. Would he want you to turn it down because of fear? No. Terrence would tell her to go for it, to bet on herself, to remember she was capable of anything. He'd kick my ass, Simone said. Carter smiled. Yeah, he would. She laughed. Watery, broken, but real. They sat there, on the cold ground, at Terrence's grave, Carter's arms eventually coming around her. Warm, solid, present. I'm going to say something, Carter said quietly, and you can hate me for it if you want. What? Terrence isn't here, and I know you love him. I know you'll always love him. But Simone, he pulled back to look at her. He's gone, and I'm here, and I'm asking you to let me help you build whatever comes next. Not as a replacement, not as a second choice, but as someone who wants to be in your life. However you'll have me. Her breath caught. That's not fair. No, it's not, but it's honest. His jaw was set, determined. I'm done pretending I don't care about you beyond some promise. I'm done watching you torture yourself over what Terrence would think when he literally asked me to make sure you lived. I can't give you what you want. You don't know what I want. Then tell me. Carter was quiet for a long moment. The cemetery silent around them. Sacred ground. Appropriate for confessions. I want coffee dates where you rant about terrible clients. I want to hear about your events. I want to watch you create magic. He paused. I want you to look at me the way you looked at that mac and cheese at the festival, like something worth savoring. I want a chance. Not a guarantee. Just a chance. Simone's heart hammered. What if I can't? What if I try and I'm too broken? Then we figure it out. Together. Or we stay friends. I meant what I said. I'd rather have you as a friend than not at all. His hands found hers. Squeezed. But Simone, stop using fear as an excuse to stay stuck. Stop letting everyone else's opinions decide your life. You're 47 years old. You survived losing the love of your life. You're stronger than you think. I don't feel strong. You're sitting at your husband's grave, considering the biggest job of your career, having this conversation. That's brave as hell. The words settled into her. Truth. Uncomfortable truth. I need time, she said. Take it. I need to accept the gala first. Get through that. Prove to myself I can still do what you do best. Create magic. I know. He smiled. And I'll be there, cheering you on. Friend or otherwise. Simone looked at Terrence's headstone. The dates, the inscription. Beloved husband, father, friend. Gone too soon. I'm going to try, she said. To Terrence, to Carter, to herself. I'm going to take the gala, and I'm going to, what? Figure it out. One step at a time. I'm going to stop apologizing for being alive. Good. Carter stood, helped her up. They stood there together, at the grave, at the threshold. Thank you, Simone said, for coming, for being honest, for everything, always. He drove her home, walked her to the door, the air between them charged. Different. Simone? Yeah? For what it's worth, he smiled, gentle. I think you're going to crush this gala, and I think Terrence is probably proud as hell watching you rebuild. Then he left. Simone walked inside, made herself lunch, called Lauren Mitchell. I'll do it. The gala. I'll do it. Wonderful. Can you come in tomorrow to discuss details? Yes, absolutely. They hung up. Simone stood in her kitchen, Terrence's mug still by the coffee maker, his presence everywhere. But for the first time, it felt less like haunting and more like blessing. She called Jasmine. Mama, you okay? I took the museum gala. Silence. Then, Mama! Oh my God, that's incredible. I'm terrified. You should be. It's huge. But you can do this. Jasmine's voice was fierce. Proud. When do you start? Tomorrow. I'm coming over tonight. We're celebrating. They hung up. Simone looked around her house. At the life she'd built with Terrence, at the life she had to build without him. Then she did something she hadn't done in months. She put on music. Alicia Keys, Girl on Fire, loud, and she started planning. 3 months later, February in Charleston brought cold snaps and early azaleas. The museum gala was in 4 days. Simone hadn't slept more than 5 hours a night in weeks. She was alive in ways she hadn't been in over a year. Her office, the spare bedroom she'd converted back into workspace, overflowed with fabric samples, lighting plans, vendor contracts. She'd hired 3 assistants, coordinated with 40 vendors, designed tablescapes that would photograph beautifully while staying within budget. She was back. Carter had been there through all of it. Not hovering, not controlling, just present. Coffee delivered when she worked late, listening to her vent about difficult vendors, offering opinions when asked. Respecting boundaries. They hadn't defined what they were, hadn't needed to, yet. The day before the gala, everything went wrong. The florist called at 7 a.m. Simone, I'm so sorry. The shipment there was a freeze in Colombia. Half your centerpiece flowers didn't arrive. Panic clawed up her throat. What do you mean half? We have the greenery, the filler, but the featured blooms, the amaryllis and orchids, they're gone. I've called every wholesaler within 200 miles. Find something, anything. I'll redesign. Just, Simone's mind raced. What do you have in volume? Roses, carnations, standard stock, basic, boring. Not the elevated, sophisticated look she'd promised. Give me an hour. I'll call you back. She hung up, stared at her designs. $10,000 worth of centerpieces that no longer existed. Her phone rang. The caterer. Please tell me you're not calling with bad news. The ovens are down, both of them. Repair guy says 4 hours minimum. Simone closed her eyes, breathed. Can you prep at another location? I'm calling sister restaurants now, but Simone, timing's going to be tight. Make it work, please. 3 more calls. The lighting company needed access earlier. The valet service had a staffing issue. The musicians were stuck in Atlanta traffic. By noon, Simone sat at her kitchen table on the verge of tears. This was too much, too big. She wasn't ready. She'd been stupid to think. Her phone rang. Carter. Hey, she answered. Her voice cracked. What's wrong? Everything. The flowers, the caterer, It all spilled out. The disasters, the timing, the terror that she'd failed spectacularly in front of Charleston's elite. Okay, breathe. What can I do? Unless you can magically grow orchids or fix industrial ovens. I can't do that, but I can help you problem solve, and I can remind you that you're Simone Harris. You built a business on making magic from nothing. His voice was steady, calm. So, what's the flower solution? She closed her eyes. Thought. Roses and carnations can work if I go tonal, all white. Add height with dramatic branches. Make it architectural instead of romantic. There you go. What else? The caterer, I need to call my contact at the culinary school. See if they have kitchen access. Do it. What else? She stopped. I need someone to keep me from spiraling. I can do that. I'm working from home today. Video call me. Put your phone on the counter. Work. I'll be here. So she did. For 6 hours, Carter stayed on video, working on his laptop, occasionally asking questions, making terrible jokes when she got too stressed, ordering her food when she forgot to eat. By 6 p.m., she'd solved everything, redesigned centerpieces, confirmed kitchen space, adjusted timelines, built-in buffer. It would work. It would be incredible. See? Carter said from the phone screen. Told you. I couldn't have done this without you. Yes, you could have, but I'm glad you didn't have to. He smiled. Get some sleep. Tomorrow's your day. Carter? Yeah? Will you come? To the gala. I know it's last minute, but I already have a ticket. Bought it 3 months ago. Her heart flipped. Why didn't you tell me? Didn't want to pressure you. But Simone, his green eyes were serious through the screen. I wouldn't miss it for anything. Gala night arrived, clear and cold. The museum transformed. Simone's vision realized. White flowers and bare branches created winter elegance. Lighting washed marble columns in soft gold. Tables set with precision. A jazz quartet played. The food, despite the kitchen drama, was perfect. Charleston's elite arrived in gowns and tuxedos. The mayor, museum board members, donors, press. Simone wore burgundy velvet, her natural hair styled in elegant curls, Terrence's grandmother's pearls at her throat. She'd moved her wedding band to her right hand permanently last week. Her left hand felt naked, free, both at once. She worked the room, checked details, solved small crises, in her element. At 8 p.m., Lauren Mitchell found her. Simone, this is extraordinary, beyond what I imagined. The director's eyes shone. Everyone's talking about it. The flowers, the ambience, everything. Thank you. I'm so glad. We want you for next year. And I'm recommending you to 3 other boards. Lauren squeezed her hand. You're back. Welcome back. Simone's eyes burned. Thank you. That means everything. She excused herself. Needed air. Stepped onto the museum's back terrace. The Charleston night spread before her. City lights. Harbor in the distance. She'd done it. Proved she still had it. That grief hadn't destroyed her gift. Beautiful night. She turned. Carter stood in the doorway in a perfectly tailored tuxedo. He looked like he belonged on magazine covers, but his eyes were only on her. You came, she said. Told you I would. He moved to stand beside her, close but not touching. It's incredible in there. You're incredible. I had help. You had support. There's a difference. He turned to face her. Simone, watching you these past months, watching you rebuild yourself, fight for this, create this magic. It's been an honor. Her heart raced. Carter, let me finish, please. He took a breath. I know you're not ready. Maybe you'll never be ready, but I need you to know being in your life these past months has been the best part of my year. Friend or otherwise. What if I want otherwise? The words escaped before she could stop them. Carter went very still. What? What if? Simone's hands shook. What if I'm terrified but I want to try? What if I think Terrence would approve? What if I'm tired of being afraid? Simone, her name a prayer, a question. I can't promise it'll be easy. I can't promise I won't panic or spiral or need space. But Carter, she looked up at him, this man who'd been patient, who'd seen her, who'd waited. I want to try, with you. His hand cupped her face, gentle, reverent. You're sure? Terrified. But yes, he kissed her, soft, tentative, asking permission with every second. She kissed back. Let herself feel it, the want, the possibility, the future that existed beyond grief. When they broke apart, tears streamed down her face. Okay? He asked. Yeah. Just, she laughed, cried, both. It's been 14 months since anyone kissed me, since I wanted anyone to. We can go slow. I need slow. Then that's what we'll do. He wiped her tears, smiled. But Simone, I'm all in. However long it takes. They went back inside. Together. Not hiding. Not announcing. Just together. Simone saw the looks, the whispers, church ladies clutching pearls, Nicole watching from across the room with an expression Simone couldn't read. She braced for judgment. Instead, Nicole walked over, looked at Carter, at Simone, at their linked hands. He makes you happy, Nicole said. Not a question. He does. Terrence would approve. Nicole's eyes shimmered. He'd want this for you. You think so? I know so. Nicole pulled her into a hug, whispered, I'm sorry I made this harder. I was wrong. You deserve happiness, even if it's scary for the rest of us. Simone held her sister. Her person, thank you. The night continued. Success building on success. Donors pleased, board members impressed, press taking photos. At 11 p.m., as the event wound down, Eleanor Harris appeared. She'd been there all evening but hadn't approached until now. Mama, Simone said carefully. Eleanor looked at Carter, extended her hand. Mr. Webb, Mrs. Harris, you did good work here tonight, Eleanor said to Simone. Then to Carter, and you did good work with my daughter. Carter blinked, surprised. Terrence was a good man. The best. Eleanor's voice was steady, strong. But he's gone. And you're here, taking care of my baby girl the way he asked. She paused. That takes a good man too. I care about her very much, Carter said. I can see that. And she's happy. Finally. So, Eleanor smiled slightly. Welcome to the family. Officially. Simone's eyes flooded. Mama. Oh, hush. You think I didn't know? The whole family knew you two were dancing around each other. Eleanor patted Simone's cheek. About time you stopped fighting it. They left together at midnight. The event a triumph. The staff handling breakdown. Carter drove her home. Neither spoke. The silence comfortable. Complete. At her door, Simone hesitated. Do you want to come in? She asked. Just for coffee. Nothing. I'd love to. They sat at her kitchen table. The one where this started. Where he'd first told her about Terrence's promise. Thank you, Simone said. For everything. The promise. The patience. The... Stop thanking me, Carter said gently. I didn't do this out of obligation. Not anymore. Maybe not ever, really. Then why? He reached across the table, took her hand. Because you walked into my life when I didn't know I needed someone. Because Terrence saw something I couldn't. Because you're remarkable and you didn't believe it. He paused. And because somewhere between goat videos and food festivals, I fell for you. Simone's breath caught. When? When did I know? He considered. The food festival. When you talked to that baker and your whole face transformed. You became this force of nature, confident, creative, alive. I thought, this is who Terrence wanted me to see. And I wanted to keep seeing her. I was a mess. You were grieving. Still are, probably. That's okay. He squeezed her hand. Love isn't about finding someone perfect. It's about finding someone whose mess fits with yours. Love? The word terrified her. Too soon? Maybe. Probably. I don't. She stopped, breathed. I don't know what I feel, except that I want you here, that I'm happy when you text, that tonight, when you kissed me, I didn't feel guilty. I felt, what? Hopeful. She smiled through tears, like maybe I get to have this. A second chance, a different kind of love. Different how? Terrence was my first everything, first love, first kiss. We grew up together. She looked at their joined hands. This you, it's different, grown up, chosen. Not the whirlwind romance of 25-year-olds, but the deliberate choice of two people who've already lost. I like different. Carter brought her hand to his lips, kissed her knuckles. I like us. Us. She tested the word. It fit. Scary but right. I like us too. He stayed until 2 a.m. They talked, made plans, admitted fears. I'm going to mess this up, Simone said. I'm going to have bad days where all I can think about is Terrence, days where I can't be what you need. Then we'll handle those days. Together. Carter's voice was steady. Sure. And I'm going to mess up too. I'll probably push too hard or not hard enough. I'll say the wrong thing. But Simone? He waited until she met his eyes. We'll figure it out. That's what relationships are. Two imperfect people choosing each other anyway. When did you get so wise? Grief counseling. Lots of it. He smiled. After my mum died, I learned that avoiding pain doesn't make it disappear. You have to walk through it. And having someone walk with you makes all the difference. Is that what we're doing? Walking through grief together? No, he pulled her closer. We're walking towards something, using what grief taught us to build something real. She kissed him. Longer this time, deeper, letting herself want, letting herself have. When they broke apart, she was breathless. I should go, Carter said. Before, I don't want to leave. One more minute. So they sat on her couch, her head on his shoulder, his arm around her, Terrence's reading glasses still on the side table, his chair still in the corner, the house full of memories, but making room for new ones. 3 months later, May. Simone stood in her new office, actual office, downtown Charleston, exposed brick, big windows, a team of 3 working with her, the business she'd rebuilt from ashes. Her phone buzzed. Carter. Dinner tonight? That place you've been wanting to try? Yes. Pick me up at 7? It's a date. Literally. She smiled. They'd been officially together for 3 months. Slowly, carefully. He had a drawer at her house. She had a toothbrush at his downtown loft. They'd navigated holidays, Mother's Day without his mom, what would have been Simone and Terrence's anniversary. It wasn't always easy, but it was real. The door opened. Jasmine walked in with coffee. From your boyfriend, Jasmine said, grinning. Who is disgustingly thoughtful. He is. Simone took the cup. Perfect temperature, perfect order. He paid attention. So, Jasmine sat. I have news. Good news or bad news? Good. Great, actually. Jasmine's smile was blinding. I'm engaged. Simone's heart stopped. What? When? Who? Marcus. The guy I've been seeing for 6 months. He proposed last night. Jasmine held out her hand. Small diamond. Thoughtful. And Mama, I want you to plan it. The wedding. Will you? Tears pricked Simone's eyes. Baby girl. Of course. Are you sure? Positive. You're the best. And I want... Jasmine's voice cracked. I want Daddy there somehow. In the details. The choices. You knew him best. You'll know how to make him present. Simone pulled her daughter close. We'll make it perfect. For you, for him, for all of us. They planned, talked dates, discussed vision. Jasmine wanted small, intimate, meaningful. And Mama? Jasmine said as she left. Carter's invited. Obviously. As your date. Are you sure? Some people might. Anyone who judges can stay home. You're happy. That's what matters. Jasmine hugged her. I love you. Both of you. Together. That night, Carter took her to Fleet Landing. Harbor views, fresh seafood, romance without trying too hard. Jasmine's engaged, Simone said over wine. I know. Marcus asked me for my blessing last week. Simone blinked. He what? Asked my blessing. As the important man in your life. Carter smiled. I told him yes, obviously. Kid's good for her. Important man in my life. She tested the words. They fit. Scary but true. Too presumptuous? No, accurate. She reached across the table, took his hand. You are. Important. Essential. Actually, his eyes softened. You're essential to me too. They ate. Talked about the wedding. About Simone's growing business. About Carter's latest investment opportunity. Normal couple things. Beautiful in their ordinariness. After dinner, they walked along the harbor. May evening warm. Stars visible. The city alive around them. Can I tell you something? Carter asked. Always. I'm happy. Happier than I've been in years. Maybe ever. He stopped walking, turned to face her. You did that. You and your courage and your willingness to try despite being terrified. You did it too. Your patience. Your faith in me when I had none in myself. We did it, he corrected. Together. She kissed him. Right there on the harbor, walk. Tourists passing. Locals jogging. The world watching and not caring. I love you, she said, the words surprising her. True despite the surprise. Carter's expression transformed. Joy, relief, love. Say it again. I love you. Stronger now. Sure. I love Terrence. I'll always love Terrence. But I love you too. Different. Equally real. He kissed her. Deep. Claiming, I love you. So damn much. They walked home to her house, which was becoming their house. Slowly, naturally. Inside, Simone paused at Terrence's chair, the one she'd finally started sitting in. the one that no longer felt sacred, just part of the house. "You okay?" Carter asked. "Yeah, just..." She looked around, at the photos of Terrence still on the walls, at the space she'd made for Carter's things, at the life she'd built that honored the past while embracing the future. Just grateful. For what? For Terrence's wisdom, for his love, for asking you to keep that promise. She turned to Carter. "For you keeping it. For us." He pulled her close. "Best promise I ever made." 1 year later, Jasmine's wedding was perfect. Small ceremony at the same chapel where Simone and Terrence married. Reception in a garden Simone transformed with lights and flowers and love. Terrence's photo sat on the memory table. His favorite bourbon at the bar. His favorite songs in the playlist. Present in absence. Simone walked Jasmine down the aisle, both of them crying, both of them smiling. Marcus's eyes when he saw his bride. The vows that made everyone weep. The first dance that had Jasmine looking at the sky, whispering, "I love you." Daddy, Carter was there. Not intrusive, not replacing, just present, supportive, part of the family now. At the reception, Eleanor pulled Simone aside. "Your daddy would be proud," Eleanor said, "of how you've rebuilt, how you've honored Terrence while living fully." "You think so?" "I know so. And baby girl?" Eleanor glanced at Carter dancing with Jasmine. "That's a good man. Don't let him go." "I won't." Later, slow dancing with Carter, Simone felt it. Complete peace. Not the absence of grief that would always be there, a tender spot she'd learned to live with, but peace with her choices, her life, her love. "What are you thinking?" Carter asked. "That I'm lucky. To have loved Terrence. To love you. To get 2 great loves in one lifetime. Not everyone gets that." "No, they don't." She looked up at him. "This man who'd kept a dying man's promise and stayed for love. Thank you. For seeing me. For waiting. For loving me through the mess. Always." He kissed her forehead. "That's what love is. Showing up. Staying. Choosing each other. Every day." The music swelled. Jasmine and Marcus twirled past, laughing. Nicole danced with her husband. Eleanor held court at a table, surrounded by family. Life continuing, evolving, beautiful in its imperfection. Simone closed her eyes, sent a thought to Terrence. "Thank you for loving me, for knowing what I'd need, for sending him." The wind picked up, warm, gentle, feeling almost like approval. She opened her eyes. Carter watched her with patient love. "I'm ready," she said. "For what?" "Everything, whatever comes next. With you." He smiled. "Then let's go build it. Together." And they did. What would you rate this story? Drop 0 to 10 inches the comments right now. If this story moved you, hit subscribe for more emotional journeys every week. And if it truly touched your heart, consider leaving a super thanks. Your support helps us create more stories like this. Every contribution, big or small, means the world. Ready for the next story? It's even more dramatic than this one. Click now. Thank you for being part of this journey.